Shalom WJC family. It's time for our weekly Torah talk. This week, the parsha we are discussing, the parsha we'll be reading on Saturday in Shul is Vayakhel, second to last parsha in the book of Shemot. Often paired with the last one, Vayakhel Pekude, but this year with a leap year, we actually get to explore them separately. And Vayakhel and Pekude are all about, so after the golden calf, we get the accounting of the construction of the Mishkan, of the Tabernacle that was described in the two parshiot before, Parshat Ki Tisa and the sin of the golden calf. In the parsha, we read about the building of the tabernacle, but in fact we are also talking about, or so the rabbis teach us, the creation of a world. Right? And so we're going to find that in the portion, God commands Moshe to go to two craftsmen, Bezalel and Oholiav. Right? And why them? Because God endowed them. Right, we read in chapter 36, verse 1, V'asa Bezalel v'Oholiav v'chol ish hacham lev asher natan Adonai chochma utvuna bahema lada'at la'asot et kol malachet avodat hakodesh l'chol asher tziva Adonai. Right, so you're going to take these guys and all the other skilled people. Who are they? Asher natan Adonai, that God gave them chochma, wisdom, utvuna, and understanding, bahema lada'at la'asot, and the ability to perform all of the tasks that are involved in the creation of the tabernacle. God has given them special wisdom. Additionally, we're told that Moshe called them, and every skilled person that had chacham lev, was endowed with wisdom in their hearts, asher natan Adonai chochma bilibo, because God had placed this wisdom in their hearts, right? So these craftsmen of creation, of the tabernacle, are endowed with God, with a special ability. God gave them in particular the wisdom, the understanding to build the tabernacle. Now we learn from the rabbis that building the tabernacle is not just about building the tabernacle. It also reflects the creation of the world. And we read that the language in the accounting of the building of the tabernacle is very similar to the language that we read about the creation of the world. So much so that this is why we have the 39 malachot of keeping on Shabbos, the things that we consider work on Shabbos that we're not supposed to do. They come from the work that was involved in creating the tabernacle. Why? Because if this language is similar when God was creating the world and then rested on Shabbat, and the language is similar when we were creating the tabernacle and then we're supposed to rest on Shabbat, then whatever was involved in creating the tabernacle, that must be what we're supposed to refrain from on Shabbat. So this idea is well established in the Talmud and in the rabbinic texts that the creation of the tabernacle is like the creation of the world. So the question I want to ponder today, the point I want to make, is what does it mean that it was required that people build the tabernacle, specifically people inspired with the ability to do just that? And who were these? The great artists, the great artisans, Bezalel and Oholiav. The message that we're getting from this is that God has a purpose for each and every person. We read this in lots of commentaries. I was reading it in particular in the Netivot Shalom when I was studying for this parsha, right? That God has a purpose for you, inspired something in your heart. Now, maybe it's being a great artist, or maybe it's something else. In the beginning of the parsha, God says to Moses, collect the truma, but it doesn't say the truma tamishkan, the truma for the tent. It says truma ladonai. And Netivot Shalom tells us that what does it mean to give truma? Truma means something that you raise up. when you give over these things to the tabernacle, that you're actually doing truma to Adonai of yourself and of the world. You're bringing yourself closer to God by giving these gifts. So God put a gift in Betzalel's heart and Oholiab's heart, and those were the gifts of the skilled craftsman, of the artist. And because of that, they were able to contribute to the creation of the Mishkan in the way that we would expect an artist to do, to make it beautiful, to do all these amazing crafts. And then everybody else, though, also had their part. Everybody gave from what God put in their heart to create this Mishkan. Now, follow me. The Mishkan represents the world. Then what the Parsha is really telling us is not about the creation of the Mishkan at all. I mean, it is in that moment, but of course we read it and we say, we're not building any Mishkans anytime soon. Even if we built another temple, it would be made out of, Jerusalem stone, like Solomon's temple, not out of dolphin skin, like this temple in the desert, this Mishkan. So why do we read it? We read it to remind us that just as every Jewish person had a part to play in the creation of the tabernacle, so too every Jewish person has a part to play in the creation of the world. That's the tafkid of the Jewish people, to be partners with God in creation. And it's not like some of us have that task and some of us don't. God put something in each and every one of our hearts, just as God put chokhmah and tvuna, wisdom and understanding, in the hearts of Betzalel and Oholiav and the other artists for the tabernacle. So too God put wisdom in our hearts for the very purpose of our being partners in creation. We are, each and every one of us, tasked to be artists or contributors, or to give something of ourselves over to this beautiful world that God has created. But maybe it could be a little more beautiful. Maybe it could be a little more better. Maybe there could be a little more justice. Maybe there could be a little more holiness. And there's something in your heart that when you're doing that thing, when you're giving it, pulls you closer to God. Your neshama vibrates at just the right frequency, and you can feel it and you know it. And I hope you felt that feeling. And if not, then it's time we find a different tafkid for you until we find the one that is the one. But we are, you and me and all of us, right? We are the artists of the world. We are the artists of creation, helping God to continue to create the world that we live in, helping God, we hope to perfect this creation so that soon it will be just as beautiful as everyone needs it to be, and just as holy, and just as beautiful. And so I wish you a Shabbat Shalom as we all take a rest from all these acts of creation, a good reminder to ourselves that we each have our own task, just like Betzalel and just like Oholiav. And whether it's creating great art or great writing or teaching or a beautiful family or a beautiful work or a more just world or healing or whatever it is that you are doing, that is a sacred task. And while we refrain from them on Shabbat, the other 6 days, there is definitely a holiness to them as well as we pursue the tafkid that God put in our hearts. May we all find that fulfillment, where we all find the blessing of following that tafkid. Shabbat Shalom.